All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our RBT practice questions series, where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our study materials. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. During sessions, your client earns small star stickers for each homework problem completed correctly. Once he accumulates 5 stickers, he is permitted to exchange them for 10 minutes of video game time, his favorite leisure activity. In this scenario, the star stickers that your client earns are best described as which type of reinforcers. So we are looking at these star stickers. Now, if we look at this scenario, it's pretty clearly a token economy because the client is earning these stickers for homework problems completed. Once he gets enough stickers, he exchanges them for 10 minutes of video game time. And that's how a token economy works. We give them 5 tokens, 3 tokens. We give them these objects, which they then exchange for what we call a backup reinforcer. Now, in this scenario, what would these star stickers be? Well, how do tokens gain reinforcing properties? We pair the tokens with these backup reinforcers. So video game time already functions as reinforcement. Once we start pairing them through an exchange, these stickers also start to function as reinforcement. So through this pairing process, when we are creating new reinforcers through pairing, what are we doing? Are we creating unconditioned reinforcers? Well, we're not, because they're not unconditioned. The pairing process is what we consider conditioning. So through pairing, we are conditioning these stickers, which are functioning as tokens, to have reinforcing properties. So these type of reinforcers would be conditioned. Are they negative reinforcers? Well, no, because we are giving the stickers or adding them. They would be positive reinforcement, not negative. And then D, primary reinforcers. Well, primary is the same thing as unconditioned. Conditioned would also be called secondary. So be careful there, right? Primary is the same thing as unconditioned. Secondary is conditioned. And since we've had to pair the stickers with a backup reinforcer, we are conditioning them to have reinforcing properties. So the type or the scenario, or in the scenario, the star stickers are considered conditioned reinforcers. Samantha volunteers at a retirement home as a behavior technician who works with the elderly. One resident frequently forgets people's names. When this happens, Samantha discreetly reminds him in a way that others cannot overhear, helping him avoid embarrassment. Samantha's actions best illustrate what? So we are analyzing Samantha here and what she is doing. We know she's volunteering as a behavior technician. Okay, so she's adhering to our ethical code and our task list and is working with elderly people. One resident is always forgetting people's names, and when that happens, Samantha, to help avoid embarrassment, discreetly reminds him. Now, that alone, that idea of helping someone avoid embarrassment, what is Samantha trying to do? Well, she's trying to maintain this client's respect and maintain this client's dignity. And as technicians, if you work with people at all, any humans, we're always trying to maintain the dignity of whoever we're working with, right? Yes, we're there to help them, but we want to treat them like we would treat anyone else. So we look at A, behavior shaping. Samantha's not actually intervening here through any sort of shaping or extinction and differential reinforcement. There's no approximations. There's no actual intervention going on, right? Samantha's just doing her best to maintain this client's dignity. She doesn't want other members at this home to know that this person is always forgetting names, and she wants to help the person avoid embarrassment. She's trying to maintain this client's dignity as much as possible. C, functional communication training. Again, Samantha's not using any systematic intervention, no systematic behavior change procedure. She's just helping this client maintain some dignity. And then D, avoiding dual relationships. Dual relationships are when a personal and professional boundary is crossed. Samantha has not crossed any lines here. She's not overstepped any boundaries. What she's doing by helping this client avoid embarrassment, by discreetly letting them know names, is maintaining client dignity. Amelia is asked to track how often kids are playing on the swing set compared to the monkey bars during recess. Every 5 minutes, Amelia will look up at the swing set and record a response if any kids are playing there. No response is recorded if no kids are on the set. What type of measurement does this resemble? So we have a measurement question. And when you have a measurement question and we start working in these intervals, we start thinking about discontinuous measurement. Now, let's visualize this, right? If we have a 5-minute interval, which we do, if the behavior has to happen the entire time or the whole time, what do we call that? We call that whole interval recording. In this case, the behavior does not have to happen the entire time. Amelia is looking up at the swing set every 5 minutes. So here, right at the end, is what Amelia is worried about. She's not worried about the behavior happening the whole time. She's not worried about the behavior happening part of the time or partial amount of time. She's worried about this moment here. So A, partial interval recording, would be this arrow right here, where the behavior only has to happen a part of the interval to count. B, whole interval recording, it has to happen the whole time or the entire interval to count. Amelia is worried about this moment right at the end of the interval, which is momentary time sampling. So very easy when you start to visualize it and connect those words together. It's self-explanatory in a lot of ways. Now, D, continuous measurement. This is not continuous measurement because we're working in intervals. We're working with time samples. So when you're working with intervals and time samples, this is always going to be discontinuous. Continuous is along the lines of things like frequency, duration, rate, inter-response time, and latency. The type of measurement Amelia is most likely using is momentary time sampling. She's worried about the moment at the end of that interval. Your client previously required physical prompting to complete 30-piece puzzles, but is now consistently successful after only verbal prompts. Gradually, you reduce the frequency of verbal prompts until your client completes the puzzles independently. This describes which procedure? All right, so we have a procedure question. And what do we know so far? Because it looks like a prompting question. You are physically prompting your client for a 30-piece puzzle, but now you've gone to verbal prompts, and now you've reduced the frequency of verbal prompts to no prompts, and it's independent. So we've gone from physical prompting to verbal prompting to independent. Now, initially, you could answer this in a couple different ways. This could be most to least, right? Most to least prompting. We start with the most invasive and we move to the least invasive. But if we look at our answer choices, most to least is not an option. So then we think, well, we have stimulus transfer control, we have prompt fading. We are fading prompts. We're going from physical prompts to verbal prompts to no prompts. We're slowly fading those prompts out until they're gone altogether. Now, what about this idea of stimulus transfer control? And stimulus transfer control is exactly what it sounds like. We are transferring stimulus control from one stimulus to another. So initially, control over the behavior or the physical prompting has control over the behavior. We then move control to the verbal prompt. We then move control to just the SD. And that's the whole idea. Because when you prompt, those prompts become temporary discriminative stimuli or SDs. And we want to fade the prompts and transfer control from the prompts to our real SD. So we've successfully transferred stimulus control from physical prompts to verbal to just the SD. So the procedure described here is stimulus transfer control and prompt fading. Now, errorless learning is not the same thing as physical prompting because physical prompting errors can still happen. With errorless learning, we are preventing all errors altogether. Procedure best described here is stimulus transfer control and prompt fading, or both A and B. Jenna frequently scrolls on her phone instead of participating in work meetings. To address this, her supervisor praises Jenna when she contributes to discussions and withholds attention when she uses her phone. Even if Jenna is on her phone but still contributes, she will receive praise. This is a differential reinforcement of blank procedure. So we have a differential reinforcement procedure question. And when you have differential reinforcement questions, first ask yourself, are we teaching a replacement behavior? If you're teaching a replacement, then you can immediately eliminate other behavior. Because other behavior, we are reinforcing for a behavior not occurring, but not necessarily teaching something new. In this case, Jenna's scrolling on her phone and not participating. The supervisor now wants her to participate, so she reinforces discussion and withholds attention extinction for using phone. So we are teaching a replacement. We can eliminate other behavior. So the question becomes, is this alternative or incompatible? Well, the fact that Jenna can be on her phone and still contribute makes this alternative. Incompatible is exactly what it sounds like, right? If Jenna can still do the old behavior, but still engage in the new behavior and receive reinforcement for the new behavior, then those behaviors are not incompatible. It's just an alternative behavior. So this is a differential reinforcement of alternative behavior procedure. If you sit and think about the terms and the words being used, oftentimes it's very self-explanatory, right? Jenna can be on her phone and contribute. So that behavior isn't incompatible, it's just alternative. Thanks so much for watching. Check out btexamreview.com for all of our updates and materials. Be sure to subscribe if you aren't already. It really helps us. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard,